Now then people, it's Joe or Leeds TV. How are we all doing? Hope everyone's doing well, still buzzing after the weekend. If you're wondering what that is, it's a patch from stopping smoking, staying healthy. The reason this video's up, well, basically, we've just had Angus Kinnear on the Talking Shut podcast. Some of you might still be out, some of you might still be working. So what I want to try to do is sort of like condense it into a nice little video with the main points that I think, you know, that us the fans want to know, and just the interesting bits I took out from the actual podcast itself. And if you get a chance to watch it, it's a good watch. Where to begin? So looking at it really, there was a few things I picked out. I think a lot of it, praise should go to Orta. You know, he made a statement earlier on saying that, you know, and I touched on it before after the Leading Leeds documentary, Orta's, he's just dying to do well. You know, maybe he's looking for a bit of admiration, and I think at times, you know, we are a little bit harsh. Had he not had that failed spell at Borough, would we have known that much about him? Would we have blamed him as much as we do? I'm not so sure. And let's be honest, he gave them Adama Traore and they've just sold him for, what was it? It could be rising up to like 24 mil. So you can't be doing that bad. Yeah, we've had a lot of dross. But it's clear from what Kinnear said, there's been a change of tact. I think they'd said when they initially came in, they had like 9 players in the under-23s. So naturally, they had to bolster that. I think when Radrizzani had said about his 5-year plan, I think maybe that was initially part of his 5-year plan, bring a lot of youth in, people who could be great, and let's see them develop over that time. After that first full season, he's looked at it and thought, do you know what, that's not the right tact. We need to get out of this division, and that's what they've done. And Orta was the one, actually, from what Kinnear said, that actually said, let's go for Bielsa. You know, Radrizzani was the one, like a dog with a bone, I guess, from what we hear, is the one that said, no, we can do this, but it was initially Orta that mentioned him. So if, you know, we've got what we had on Sunday to look forward to the rest of 45 games, then big thanks to Victor Orta, because as a lot of you and me, I was just, it was buzzing. It reminded me, I remember last season when we went on that little run at the start and we played Burton at home and we absolutely battered them. And I think Nigel Clough had come out and said it was the best championship team he'd faced during his period, during his time in the championship, whenever he's been there. You know, and I waxed lyrical about that day, saying we will tear teams apart, but Burton really poor, ended up going down. You know, and we didn't see anything like that for the rest of the season. It just got from bad to worse. But, you know, this time we did it to Stoke, the favourites, you know. So, you know, it was a big statement. And if we do, like I say, if we have that to look forward to the rest of the season, then big thanks to Victor Orta. You know, I think what we're all questioning, and I think Binky, to be fair, on Talking Shut, I think they mentioned it at the end of the podcast, he got a bit of stick. He seemed to jump in when Kinnear was just about to tell us a bit about the transfers. But to be fair, Kinnear, he did come back to it. And what he did say is that they're expecting 1 or 2 in the door, most likely be loans. Probably not what we all wanted to hear, but at least it's some transparency. So whether or not that means we'll do business on deadline day, because if you remember, the window itself is open from the 9th all the way up to the end of August, and that's the loan window. So do we then wait to see, you know, Premier League squads and pick players from that? Because it's clear from what Kinnear said in the interview, there has been a change of tact. And, you know, part of that, that tact really has been to get players who are already at that required level for us to go up, not people who could be in a couple of years, people who are at that required level. So that would mean top-end championship, which you're probably going to have to pay money for, or loans from the Premier League. So the fact that he's mentioned loans, we're looking at probably some Premier League players. He did say that Victor Orta and Bielsa are actually looking at the squad. Now, we all know he's looking for 2 players in each position. For me, if you look at it logically and try see where there is space in the squad, I think it's evident now, and I'd said before it wasn't going to be the case, but I think we do need covering centre-back, and I think that is someone they're looking at. I know Pennington gets mentioned a lot. There's a big sticking block with that, from what you read from what Phil Hay says, is that Everton you know, want him to play games, which naturally do, you know, for me it was a surprise he got a deal at Everton, and I think a lot of Leeds thought they were probably going to be able to sign him. I wasn't really keen, but, you know, it looked like they were going to sign him, so I was surprised that Everton took him on that deal. Now, when they send him out on loan, are they going to want him to be sat on the bench? Because he is going to be sat on the bench for me, and I think for the majority of us, so maybe Wigan might be his destination, and then we'll have to look elsewhere. Hopefully, might get someone from City, you never know, do you? But yeah, 2 in each position. So for me, like, at centre-back, you have Berardi, Pontus, Cooper. You can say Phillips, but really Phillips is just in front, like we've seen on the Saturday. So for me, yeah, he is a centre-back, plays at the centre of a free, but it's a totally different position. So yes, there's 4 there initially, but I think you need someone to cover. So if you take Phillips out of the equation, you would then just have the 3 of Pontus, Cooper and Berardi. So I think we need cover there. So I think we will go get that cover. And I think we'll need cover for Phillips in that role. That's just my opinion, because I think Vieira was going to be the cover for Phillips's position in effect, which is the person that's going to, you know, sit in front of the back 2, or sorry, the back 4, depending on how we set up, and then sometimes being a back 3, depending on how we set up. And Vieira and him would have been, you know, for me, ideal replacements. You know, you've got Click Forshaw. I think we seen on Sunday he seemed to like Dallas in that position. I don't know if that's just while he waits for another player, but yeah, I think that's where we'll get him. So it's going to be a centre midfielder that might be able to play, you know, on the more defensive side, and then also cover at centre back. Because if you look elsewhere, like across the team, you've got Bamford Roof, you've got quite a lot of players that can play in the 10. Obviously, if say Bamford, you might play Roof there, or if Hernandez can't play on the right, or Saïd picks up, you move Hernandez in here, put Harrison out there. So there is a lot of interchangeable players up at the top half of the pitch. So for me, we're looking towards the defensive side of it. So hopefully deals will be done. I think myself and Tash at Woo Leeds, if you want to give her a follow, she's quite pivotal in the old Leeds TV. You don't see much of her, but she's quite a big cheese. So yeah, I think we might be going down on Thursday just to do a bit of stuff there. Hopefully, you know, we might see something. It's a little bit disappointing now that they've said there's going to be loans, but everything changes in football. It's like they'd said about Douglas. They never thought that, you know, Kinnear said they never thought they'd get that done. And look what happened. You know, they got wind that they were going for a left back, moved in and got that deal done. So things can change. Also, just going back to Bielsa, I think what they'd initially, the reason it took so long as well is when they went for these chats, when they flew over to Argentina to get him to sign this contract, they could never get him off football. They said they'd went over, we already all know, it's common knowledge that he'd watched all the games. Turns out he had reams and reams of papers, knew each player by the squad number, and was saying, right, okay, 9 can play in this position and he can switch with him. So he'd done loads of work. He even had plans for 4 parts. So you can imagine they're going to try to seal this deal, and he's just wanting to talk football. And at the same time, you're not going to say to him, well, hang on a minute, mate, sign the contract. So be like, whoa, you know. So you can see why that took as long as it did. Also, I think, you know, early on in the window, they'd mentioned, you know, sorry, us as fans were worried about the time it was taking to get these deals done. And I think one point he did make out was the Graben situation. You know, each manager or director of football, or however you want to look at it, will have a couple of options in each position they want to cover. You'll have your first option, second option, third option, yeah? That's not any inside knowledge, that's just from hearing people talk, yeah? And I think Graben was on that list of strikers, but he wasn't high enough on that list for when Forest went in to enter any sort of bidding war or to go in for him. And I know we'd be like, a lot of us on Twitter were like, oh, we've just lost out on this player, we've just lost out on that. But there's reasons for that, and it's all coming out now, you know. And to be honest, I'm glad we've got Bamford. So happy days. I think as well, some good news. The away shirt is going to be out tomorrow, which we're all panicking. you know, what were they going to play in? I don't mind. They could have played in the green training top for me. I think it's lush. But yeah, that's going to be out tomorrow and available for pre-order. There was some other little bit about the club shop. I think they'd asked about the club shop and the reasons they, you know, refurbish that. And one of them was mentioning about, you know, they've now got 21 tills. And that's one thing I will say when you go into that club shop now, if you want to buy something, you're in and out. You know, previous seasons, especially on the opening couple of games, you'd be queuing right around the shop. You'd enter the shop and the queue would be there. So, you know, for that, it's little changes like that. It just makes it a whole better match day experience. Another thing that's great for the city as well, when they said they're going to move the indoor and outdoor pitches from Thorpe Arch, because they don't get much use out of them. 80% of the time they're not used. They're going to be moving them to a new sports complex that they're going to set up in Beeston and Holbeck. So for the community itself, and you know, in the city, that's great news. I don't live in Leeds, you know, but I just think I live in Sunderland. I'm originally from Halifax, but I just think that's meant for the city, and they want to put it back. There was a mention of the badge as well. Sorry, I keep looking down, but I've made a few bit of notes. Preparing, what is it? Preparing to fail is failing. No, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So that's why it's down there. All right. Yeah. So they mentioned the club badge. That sort of like got brushed aside. I think it's a bit of a no-go. That's definitely on the back burner, and it would make sense, you know, because what they've done is they've created that club shop, and you've got the wood bars outside, and then you've got the Leeds badge. If you're then going to rip it up and change it all, you know, I think they've learnt the lesson. I think what they had said, which is quite clear with the socks, they want something with Leeds United written on it. And I know they're pretty atrocious, but if you look at the socks, it's very much Leeds United, big block letters. So they did mention in the centenary year they're looking at stuff like the kits and stuff in and around the ground with Leeds United, because the badge doesn't have Leeds United on. But whether or not having massive, you know, Times New Roman or whatever font it is in big capital letters on your socks is the way to go, I'm not so sure. But yeah, all in all, as I say, it was pretty interesting, I think. It was a good watch. It was quite a decent insight. There's a few bits there that I've taken out from it. But yeah, that's it really. Also, guys, just to fill you in, the first week of the championship ends tonight. Obviously, there's Borough, Sheffield United, Forest, and I forget who they're playing. I apologise. Their games finish tonight, which means week 1 of the championship dream team will be done. So I've been playing about with a bit of a spreadsheet at work and stuff like that, seeing what I can put together. But I will be putting a video up tomorrow with all that information on, see who's done well after week 1 and all that sort of stuff. Also, some of the guys have got their teams private now. You know, it's only for kicks, so calm down a bit. But if you want to keep it private, it's up to you. But obviously, I can't delve into the squad if you're going to stop us all looking. Don't worry, we're not going to look. We've all got our own opinions. But yeah, if you could unlock them, that'd be great. But I will see you all tomorrow. As I say, get a chance if you can. Have a listen to the podcast. And yeah, I'll see you all tomorrow. And can't wait for Saturday. Good looking out, people. Leeds, Leeds, Leeds.